What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Fight Predictions in the building, and this is your Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling breakdown. I love this fight, the return of Henry Cejudo, and obviously he's going to be facing the champion of the so-called 135 division, because there is a real champion. All right, there was a real champion, and he's fucking back, and his name is Henry Cejudo. But I love this fight. I really do, man. There is a real storyline going into this fight. It is D1 versus D3. It is gold medal versus versus a nobody. You know what I'm saying? But no, in all actuality, you have a guy in Henry Cejudo who has been great his whole entire life. You know what I'm saying? He has been the standard of wrestling and MMA, in my humble opinion, his whole life. He's been great his whole life. Aljamain Sterling hasn't been necessarily great his whole life. Yeah, since 2016, he's been in the top 5, right? Now, obviously, he's dropped and he's came back in the top 5. But still, he has been a top 5 guy before. Not saying he hasn't. But Aljamain Sterling is a workhorse fighter. He's a guy that's earned everything he's gotten. He earned his #1 contender shot, and I give him his credit. The only thing he's never earned is a championship. You know, winning via DQ ain't a way to win it. But besides that, if you discredit all that other stuff, that is the storyline. You know, you have an all-time great guy going up against a guy that's trying to be an all-time great. You know what I'm saying? You have a guy in Henry Cejudo who main evented UFC 238 against Marlon Moraes, and you got another guy that was main eventing the prelims against Pedro Munoz, and now they're fighting each other in the main event at UFC 288. So you get what I'm saying? Like you got a guy that has worked for everything for this moment. You got a guy that's been great his whole entire career. You know, so in actuality, these guys are gonna find out who is the best 135 pound fighter of all time, because Aljamain Sterling has tricked the masses into thinking that he is on some GOAT status. All right, he has fooled a lot of people, but I have stayed calm and I have fought against this mass hypnosis, and I am Team Henry Cejudo. You guys know this. The world knows this. But my main point though is I love the fight. I love the fight, but we're gonna find out who's the best, because no matter what bias I have towards Aljo or whatever, the guy still is on a 2-fight title defense streak, and he's getting close to his 3rd title defense. If he does that, if he beats Cejudo, it will be his 3rd title defense, and he will make history. So I'm not taking nothing away from the guy. If he does it, he does it. And if Henry Cejudo gets the belt again and becomes a 2-time bantamweight champion, including the fact that he was a 1-time flyweight champion, man, that's just fucking incredible. And he gets Aljamain Sterling on his resume. That's insane. So, yeah, there's a lot of stakes going into this fight. I love the fight. I know some people are like, it's whatever, but I think it's going to be a gritty, grimy, dirty boxing, wrestling heavy, MMA kind of fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's going to be a really, really cool contest to watch. I think we're going to get to see the best of every world of mixed martial arts. We're going to get to see the striking, the jiu-jitsu, and the wrestling. So it's going to be really dope, man. But yeah, let's get to it though. Let's talk about the tail of the tape. Aljamain Sterling is obviously the champion. He comes with a record of 22-3. He's fighting at New York, age 33, a height of 5'7", and reach of 71. Henry Cejudo comes with a record of 16-2. He's fighting at Arizona, age 36, a height of 5'4", and a reach of 67.5. So here's the thing. Coming into this, for Aljamain. Aljamain's obviously the younger guy. He obviously has the longer reach. So those are things that's going to go into his factor, and that's going to help him in this fight. And that's something that Henry Cejudo is going to have to worry about. But in my humble opinion, yeah, Aljo has more fights, but I personally feel like Henry Cejudo has more championship experience. And yeah, I agree. You know, he fought Dominic Cruz for a championship. He fought Marlon Moraes for a championship. He fought TJ Dillashaw for a championship. He fought Demetrius Johnson for a championship. He fought him again for a championship. That's 5 championship fights, right? Aljo has what? 1, 2, and 3. That's it. That's all you got. That's all he got. And I'm talking about UFC championship experience. So that's, to me, something big. You know, when you have those kind of 5 training camps, and then this is going to be Aljamain's 4th training camp or a championship fight. This is going to be Henry's 6th. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference, right? And you know, I know my boy Ed. He's watching this. Shout out to my guy Ed, my partner in crime for Fight Talk. But you know, I know he loves himself some Aljamain, and I know he's gonna call my boy midget. And yeah, you can say whatever you want. My guy is 5'4". All right, but my man knows how to win a championship. My man knows how to destroy Marlon Rice, something your boy can't do. So, but besides any of the cheap fucking attacks on Ed, you know, I did do a 6-fight film study breakdown on this, and you know, I can't wait to get into it. But Ed, you know, I'm gonna talk to Ed a little bit right here. 30 seconds for Ed. You know, this is, I just want to say, this is war. You know, this is war. That's how I want to start off the video by saying, this is fucking war, Ed. You know, I'm declaring war on the Aljamain Sterling fangirls. We are getting it done, because we're talking about Aljamain Sterling here, and we're going to start off with his little 6-fight film study breakdown, and I'll be very critical of it. Let's talk about Aljamain Sterling versus Bryan Caraway. So this is the 6th fight I wanted to break down. This was the first fight out of the 6 I really wanted to break down. So this fight against Caraway. Okay, let's talk about, before we get into it, right, Mr. Ed, if you don't know, this guy, Aljamain Sterling, had made some jokes about Caraway and Miesha Tate and this and that and all that rah-rah, you know what I'm saying? He was running his mouth. And you know what, Aljo, and this is going to be my main point on why I think Henry Cejudo is going to be this fight right here. So Aljo, in the first round, dominated. And I always say this about Aljo, he's an elite 2-round fighter. That simple. So, let's play the tape. He works your single leg here. Now Caraway, before I even talk about actually what's going on here, you know, Aljo's still working for the single. Caraway is a guy, he's a boxer wrestler, and that's it. I don't even think his boxing is that good. He's a decent wrestler, but he's tough. He has heart, right? Something Henry Cejudo has times 100. All right, okay, that's simple. And Aljo doesn't. And I've said, you can see it in his whole career. All right, the only time I've ever seen Aljo really overcome some type of adversity is maybe against Munoz, but that's kind of it. All right, that's all he gets from me. But, and I'm not saying he's weak. He is tough. He's a tough kid, but he's also, he breaks down, and you can see it. So in this fight, right, so Aljo's working for the single in the first round. You know, they're both exchanging punches, working for the single. Eventually, he gets the back, something that he's elite at. And I always give him this. He is so good at taking the back. He is a master of the backpack. You know what I'm saying? A rear naked choke, fucking savant. And then he gets the body triangle, and he dominates this first round. I just want to say that. But you continue to watch this fight, right? Caraway doesn't give up on himself. You know what I'm saying? And he works, and and he starts defending takedowns. He starts scrambling with Aljo, and he makes Aljo work every time he goes for a single or he shoots, and he cranks a guillotine, right? And he defends, and he's throwing submissions. Then he starts throwing overhands at Aljo. And then he shoots for his own takedowns. And this is where you start to see Aljo have his issues. When Aljo gets put on his back, he is not anything special off his back. Yeah, he has great jiu-jitsu, but he's a top guy. You have to understand, Aljo is a D3 wrestler. And I'm not saying, like, I tweeted something out, like, let me specify this before I even talk further about this. I tweeted something out about that, right? And D3 wrestling at its finest. That's what I tweeted. And it went viral. I am not killing Aljo for being a D3. I have a lot of respect for Division 3 wrestlers. I wrestled, right? Okay? So I get it. And a lot of people are saying, oh, you never wrestled. Whatever, okay? Just go look at the picture I'm about to show up. But it doesn't matter. I don't care. I wrestle, all right? My thing is that an Olympic gold medalist compared to no disrespect, a community college wrestler doesn't compare. There's levels in this. It's like, okay, I respect, like, let's talk about basketball, right? There's JUCO basketball players, and there's D1 basketball players. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys get what I'm fucking saying? Right? Like, you know, there's LFA MMA fighters, right? And then there's UFC. And LFA's not, I'm not saying that. But there's top 5 UFC fighters. There's UFC champions, right? There's LFA champions, and then there's UFC champions. You get what I'm saying? Like, does that compute, y'all? So, okay. So you can see right here, he don't like to be on his back. Even though he is a Sarah jiu-jitsu guy, right? He's a guy that likes to be on top. He doesn't have nothing off his back. So Caraway exposed that. Caraway got on top, and he rode him like a horse, and he got his back. That's the best part. This is where Aljo struggles when he is on the bottom. He hates it. He hates it. And I loved how Caraway dominated him and got his back. Gave him a taste of his own medicine. And I love what he does right here. It's amazing. He fucking steps over him like a hump of trash. But I loved it. I loved every second of it. And I loved how he continued to wrestle Aljo. And he broke Aljo. And you could see it in Aljo's facial expressions. He's a broken man. A broken man, pure and simple. And Caraway ends up getting his back. You know, Aljo tries to like kind of flip over it to a certain extent, but there's nothing he can do at this point. You know what I'm saying? Caraway's got his back. The body triangle's in, and he won this fight. He won this fight in dominant fashion. And obviously, this was a big telltale story of Aljamain's career. Is that he's, before this fight, he was ranked number 4 in the world. Number 4 in the world. He beat Mizugaki before it was cool. Before guys like Cody Garbrandt even got it done, or like even Dominic Cruz or whatever, right? Or I think he might have did it after Dominic. I'm not sure. I might be wrong, but I don't think he beat him, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't beat a guy that was trash. He beat good guys his whole career. He's always been good, but something that was a problem for him that he was able to overcome was that he'd always get to a certain level and then fight Marlon Rice. He'd always get to a certain level and he'd fight Brian Caraway. You know what I'm saying? He'd always struggle and he'd always end up being on the losing end at those number 1 contender fights or those big important fights. Now eventually he got over the hump, right? And he finally became the number 1 contender. We'll talk about that moment, but I was watching some fights, right? And when I did my fight film study, a lot of people were like, when did you figure out that Cejudo was going to beat Aljamain Sterling? And I watched the Pedro Munoz fight, and that's all I need to say. I watched that fight, and I got my answer. If I get any sense of prime Cejudo, he smokes this guy. He smokes this guy. So, okay. I want to start off by saying Aljamain Sterling's striking is not bad. It's actually pretty good. When I watch him strike, it's not bad. A lot of people might actually be surprised I'm saying this. He's long. He uses all his limbs, his elbows, his jabs, his high kicks, his leg kicks, his body kicks, his teep kicks. So when I watch him strike, he's not a bad striker. He's really not. He has no power, but he's not a bad striker. Some people say he's unorthodox, but in actuality, he's actually throwing straight shots. And when he throws anything looping, it's in combination, and he does it with a lot of volume. So I want to say that. And what he did to Pedro Munoz was really impressive. So let's start off by giving him his props in this fight. So he throws the body kick constantly. He's always throwing the body kick. He started off with that fight. And then he used his reach, throwing a lot of double hooks. And he was working Pedro here. He was scrapping with him, but the thing was, he was just longer. And one thing I love that he's gonna do here is he's throw spinning back fists and spinning back elbows. Watch this. He's yelling at Pedro at this moment, but wait for him to throw that spinning back elbow. You know what I'm saying? He was working him. Now, okay, maybe I got ahead of myself, but yeah, it's right here. That's where he was up. Boom, he hit him. But he and you know what I love? He was threading takedowns while he was striking, but he decided he was gonna strike with him. And then anytime Pedro would throw his own strike, he would respond. He just worked Pedro with straight shots, hooks. He used his length. And this is another spinning back fist and then to hook combo. He would use his striking with combinations. You know what I'm saying? He would just work Pedro. he would constantly be on him. You know, he didn't let Pedro walk him down. He controlled the octagon with his combos, his pace, and his pressure. And he did a phenomenal job here, right? Honestly, he used his length to his fullest degree, and it was a great performance. But let's talk about what I saw that gave me fucking hope. So in the pocket, he's not great. So he got hit here in the pocket, and he does this weird thing. And body language is a big thing to me, where he's like, you know, and he looks really, really weird. So he got hit there, and he was kind of staggered. He got hit with a leg kick. So and then another thing was, he wasn't able to take down Pedro Munoz. I know he says his wrist was weak going into this fight. He does say that, but even though he threatened takedowns, he knew in his head, I can't take this guy down because he might submit me. You know what I'm saying? So if he feels like you're the better grappler than him, he will go to your weaknesses. So I already know he's not planning on trying to out-wrestle Henry Cejudo, because that's not going to happen. I'm telling people, that's not going to happen. That's not the way this guy wins this fight. I promise you that. That's not the way he wins this fight. So he wasn't able to take down Pedro Munoz. And Pedro worked his legs. And then eventually he got a knockdown with the leg kicks. And even threatened an anaconda choke. So when I saw this in this fight, all I told myself was, you're fucking done. You are done to the highest degree, my boy. Pedro Munoz worked your legs. Do you know what Henry Cejudo just did in his last fight? Do you know what he just did to Dominic Cruz in his last fight? I don't want to give you guys the clue, but man, Henry doesn't have the reach advantage. So how do you think he's going to strike him? Think about it. The guy has long legs. He's dangly. He's not really great at checking kicks. He's never really shown that. What's going to happen? Henry Cejudo is going to work him. That's what's going to happen. But hey, it is what it is. So let's continue. So then he fights Corey Sandhagen. And like I said, we talk about the moment where he overcame the hump. And I actually picked him to win this fight. And what I loved about how he did this fight, this is hippie Corey Sandhagen. This isn't true #1 contender, next Dominic Cruz, Corey Sandhagen, that defeated Marlon Clown Boy Cheesy Cheeto Vera, right? So this ain't the same Corey Sandhagen. But my point is, though, the reason why I picked Aljo is I felt like he was disrespected going into this fight. I felt like he was the workhorse guy. You know, I always got that wrestlers kind of bias. You know what I'm saying? I always root. So I did root for him. It's so funny. Go check out that full card prediction. I picked Aljamain to beat him, but whatever. Everyone calls me an Aljo hater. But my point is, the reason why I picked him to beat him is Aljo's worked for this moment. And I don't want to see a guy that's worked for this get fucking screwed. He shouldn't even have fought Corey Sandhagen in the first place, right? After beating Pedro, he should have fought for a belt. So he got screwed in this situation. You know, the fact he was fighting Corey. But he made a statement here. He put him on his back, and that's why I say he's an elite 2-round fight. Because look at what he's able to do in the first round to Corey. He puts him against the fence quickly, right? And eventually, he gets his back, right? No fucking mercy. None at all. And then he chokes him the fuck out like he's a nobody. And that moment where he got it done was a moment of a lifetime for him. You know what I'm saying? It was the realization that he finally is a true #1 contender. They even tried to screw him after by having Marlon Moraes versus Corey Sandhagen. And they said if Marlon Moraes beats fucking Corey Sandhagen, he's fighting for the belt, right? So they tried to screw him, right? And I was happy for the kid, man. I was, he finally realized something that he should have got a long time ago. And he had the opportunity to fight the paper champ or whatever, Peter Yan. And this is what started the great Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling war. We're here in the first title fight, you know. And I made one of the best breakdowns of all time when I made the first one, and I caught it down to a T. To this day, rewatching this fight irks my soul. The first one irks my soul because I caught it perfectly. I said Peter Yan might dominate him in the wrestling. I said Yan was going to defend all the takedowns and he was going to outstrike him, and he did that. He did that in this fight to the fullest degree. And it's insane to me that how both their careers had ended, and that the Aljamain Sterling fangirls can parade and rightfully so, sadly, say they won this war. Because if you watch this first fight, this is not how the world should work, right? You watch this fight, this is not how the future should be told, or the story should be told. It should be told that Peter Yan is on his third title defense, and he's fighting Henry Cejudo. That's what we should be talking about. But sadly, we're not in that universe. And to start off this fight, one thing I'll give Aljo, he landed some really good knees, right? But that's it, okay? And you know what? Yan was able to take him down at will, and it's insane to me. Now, don't get it twisted. Aljo got his own takedown, but that's really it. And that's all I could give Aljo, is that he landed a fucking takedown. But that's it in this fight. Yan decimated. Leg kicks again, right there. Now something I was really mad at Yan. He should have used that more often, because this guy's gonna break, and that's what Henry Cejudo is gonna do. You watch it, how Henry Cejudo trained Davis and Figueiredo for that third Moreno fight, battered them legs, right? He's gonna do that, and he flipped him on his head. He knocked him down in the first round. Boom. Like, what am I? Like, you know what I'm saying? And he was able to defend takedowns at a good rate. You know, he made Aljo looked stupid. Like, he made him look like they were on two separate levels. Made him look like the 2-round fighter that he is. He was gassing. He was getting tired. He was flipping him around. Like, it was insane. He was tripping him like a little kid. There was this beautiful combo where he hits the knee, and then the 1-2, boom! And then he throws the illegal knee. And the Oscar award-winning actor gets his championship. And then we're screwed. And it's one of the saddest things I've ever seen. It's evil defeated good that day. And you know, it's kind of crazy, because you'd assume the way this would go, right, when they run it back, Aljamain Sterling's dead, right? That's what you'd assume. But then, you know, the Aljo fangirls, Fuego, Ed, they got their day. They somehow cracked the code. They somehow get to say that fucking Yan's a fraud now. Somehow we live in this world. So when they ran it back, I don't know how this happened, Aljo wins. So it's interesting. So when I watched this second fight with Aljo and Yan, it's pretty close. It's a close fight. It's very competitive. I still think it should have been kind of scored a draw, because that first round was really close. That's a 10-10 round. Nothing was really done in that first round, but they gave it to Aljo. And one thing that I noticed with Yan, good takedown defense. He was able to stuff his takedowns in that first round, actually. And you know, what do you guys expect Henry to do? Like, and that's the thing about Yan. He's always had good takedown defense. Like, I know people talk about the Marav fight, but he's always had good takedown defense. But what Aljo's really good at is the reshoot. So when he got his first takedown, Yan defended pretty well, but he continued with his momentum. And when he got on top of him with the momentum, he got that back. He fucking sunk in them hooks, and he controlled them. And my God, it was hell, because Aljo battered him. Because you have to put into perspective, this was a 6-month clowning of Aljamain Sterling. So he, in these 2 rounds, he wanted to punish Yan fans, and he did. I give him his credit, because he fucking battered Yan in the second round when he got the takedowns. But Yan, I thought he landed a good leg kick there. But then Yan would defend the takedown properly. He'd do a good job, but eventually Aljo would reshoot, and Yan would do a good job, and then he'd get him to the fence, and he'd get the takedown eventually, and then get his fucking back. And you know, and that was the issue with this fight. It was just too much of these back control. You know, those first 2 rounds, or not rounds 2 and 3, he controlled the back end, and obviously they gave him the first round. So it's like he won the first 3, and that's how the fight ended up playing out. And Yan did great. He was attacking Aljo. He defended takedowns. He was outstriking Aljo. And Aljo did this weird thing I talk about again, body language. Back up. You know, shit like that, right? And where he's getting hit and he just has bad body language. Landed a good leg kick there. Defended takedowns properly. And then Jan started getting some top control and was out wrestling Aljo. He was on top of Aljo. And like I said, Aljo has nothing off of his back. He's a top guy. He's not a bottom guy. That's just the God honest truth. Look at this. Look at him. He's not threatening anything. Again, Jan would outstrike him. Leg kick, knee. The fucking Jan defense takedown. Get off me, punk. And he's on top of him in the 5th round. Working him. And then, you know, it's crazy. Jan defends this beautiful single here. Scrambles with him. This is when I call him a D3 wrestler. And look at Aljo. On his knees. Like a clown. And then Jan gets his back in the last 5 seconds. And whatever. You know, it's insanity. So, you know, here we are. And then obviously he fights TJ Dillashaw. And he looked great in this fight. I give him that. Obviously, we all know TJ had one shoulder. But, hey, I ain't gonna lie. I rooted for Aljo hard here. It was one of the first times I picked Aljo. I think, no, it was the second time I picked Aljo on this channel. And I was happy he did what he did. The Snake needed to get taught respect. He needed to get taught that ultimate humiliation by a D3 wrestler. So, that was the thing. But I enjoyed what Aljo did. Aljo dominated, but we all know TJ came in there with an injury. No shoulder. Just a fact. I don't get it twisted. And he was 36. So, like, even, like, let's say he did have a shoulder. I still think Aljo would have beat him because he's 36. TJ was old. Like, I'm sorry. That's just a fact. That's why. That was one of my biggest reasons why I picked Aljo was because of the age. Now, you might come back to me and say, well, what about Henry Cejudo? Well, it's a difference. Henry Cejudo wasn't pumping steroids in himself like TJ Dillashaw and took a fucking sabbatical, right? A 2-year sabbatical without no steroids, okay? It's a difference. All right, he's always done it natural. And he wasn't coming off a loss. You know what I'm saying? Or, no, actually, TJ wasn't coming off a loss. But still, my point is, steroids wasn't injected. All right? It's a difference. We're natural, okay? But Aljo was able to get that single leg quick, man. It just dominate TJ on the ground. He beat him up, man, in this fight. Like he retired him, and like TJ got the beating of a lifetime here. Like everything he's done in MMA just came back to bite him. I'll give Aljo that. He beat him up bad. He took him down at will. He made it look easy against TJ. Obviously, no shoulder. Say it again. There was no shoulder. Both sides. And he just continued to take him down at will, man. It was amazing chain wrestling by Aljo. And one thing I love, my favorite moment, is Aljo has the anaconda from the standing position, and he fucking front rolls him, basically. And it was beautiful. But, you know, obviously TJ was able to get up, caused a stand up there. But then Sterling got another takedown, and he pounded him out. He finished him on the ground. Like, face down, ass up. He broke him. He broke him down. And, you know, I give respect where respect is done, you know. It was obviously one of Aljo's probably better performances as champion. It was a performance he needed to really be like, hey, I'm the man. But, again, I don't want to be that guy to say it, but circumstances. Close fight with Jan in the rematch. Got lucky with a disqualification knee. And no shoulder, old boy TJ. It's insane. His run to the title is better than his championship run. Legit went over Pedro Munoz. Legit went over Corey Sandhagen. Legit went over Jimmy Rivera. You know what I'm saying? Like, those 3 wins he got are still better than what he's accomplished as a champion. And I say that with my chest. Okay? We didn't get worse as a champion, Henry Cejudo. This is a fact. We got better. We rose to the occasion, and that is the difference. This guy is an elite fighter, those first 2 rounds, but he doesn't have the gold medal, the Olympic mentality. Okay? Listen, this is real. I'm gonna spit some goddamn facts to you motherfuckers. He doesn't have this, and he don't have this. That's called the mentality in the heart. He doesn't. And that's why Henry Cejudo is going to smoke him. Alright? So, let's talk about Henry Cejudo. I did a 6-fight film study breakdown on him too. let's talk about the first Demetrius Johnson fight. This is where Demetrius Johnson taught him respect. And I know Fuego, this is a fight that Fuego has watched probably 1,000 times, right? You know, but here's the thing. Henry was able to get that first initial takedown. You know, he did a good job here. He did his thing. But Demetrius got up with the quickness. He was able to basically push him off of him. And Demetrius owned him with these knees, man. Brutal knees in the clinch, bro. Just devastating knees, like to the body, to the face. And eventually he got him with an elbow and a fucking beautiful knee, and he broke Henry. He broke Henry, and Henry learned a valuable lesson here, a lesson of humility, a lesson of being humble and not expecting yourself to be better than everyone based on your accomplishments. Really working for the moment, and really understanding that this is MMA. This isn't wrestling. You know, you learn that lesson properly. And obviously, I know he has that loss to Joseph Benavidez, but that's a bullshit loss in my humble opinion. This was his only and real loss in MMA. It was to Demetrius Johnson, and it was a loss that I think molded him. It toughed him up, and ever since then he's looked phenomenal. And he ran it back with DJ. And you know what? I rewatched the fight. Actually, it's a lot closer than I remembered. You know, but it is what it is. But let's talk about his Sergio Pettis performance. You know, before we even talk about, because I forgot about that. He dominated Sergio, but I felt like he could have done a lot more. And that's been my biggest problem with Henry Cejudo, that he could do a lot more to some of these guys. But he kind of does the bare minimum. It's like I'm rocking the Leon Edwards shirt. If you guys peeped, by Clown Boy Full Violence. Took forever to send, by the way, motherfucker. But whatever, he sent it. But but besides that though, my main point is that Henry could do a lot more. You know what I'm saying? Like, Henry got the takedown, he controlled him. I thought the control was beautiful here. But he could have done a lot more to Sergio if he wanted to. But he kept him on the ground. And that's been always the biggest complaint about, oh, Henry doesn't control guys. Well, look at what he did to Sergio, right? And I loved in the second round, he was able to get the knockdown, and then take control here. And he just would not let Sergio get up. He just would not. He would not. He would just take the back, ride him out, and he would beat him up. Good uppercut hook combo. And he got this beautiful single leg here. Just dumped him. And I loved how he threw a little Superman punch while Sergio was on the bottom. 7 minutes of control time. Got another takedown here near the third. And it was a good performance, but it wasn't a great performance. He didn't look like the guy that was going to fight Demetrius Johnson and beat him in this fight. A lot of people felt like that. Not me. I was the guy that said Henry Cejudo was going to beat DJ. I was the guy that said Henry Cejudo, before YouTube, before any of this, was going to teach Demetrius Johnson respect. And it was a close fight. I honestly do believe that. But and he dealt with some adversity. And this is what I'm telling you. This is the difference between Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo. He got the drop foot. He could not walk properly anymore after one leg kick. This happened to fucking Sean O'Malley. You saw what happened. He lost to Marlon Cheeto Vera. But instead of whimpering and counting, be like, oh, accepting defeat, like Aljamain Sterling probably would, he overcame adversity and he out-wrestled DJ here. He would take him down, would outwork him, and he would throw combination punches near the end of the round. And that's one thing I loved. DJ tried to take him down. And he was like, you're not on my level. You're not on my level. I'm a wrestler. You ain't nobody. You know, that's a fact. And he would, this is what I love about Henry Cejudo. Inside trips in the open space in MMA is literally one of the hardest takedowns in wrestling. But he does them at will in MMA. He gets one inside trip here in the second round like it's fucking nothing. Takes down DJ. Right? Controls DJ. It doesn't let DJ get up, not at all. He's just on him, you know. And DJ does work. He worked, but DJ's trying to work for that single, and just Henry breaks him, and that's what I love about Henry. And then Henry, he continues to shoot and work, and I just love he gets another inside trip, But, you know, I give Demetrius here, he does work to get back up. He did a good job of returning back to his feet in this fight. And Henry did a good job of hitting Demetrius, too. Like, you know, not being scared to go back and forth. And I loved how Henry would always go for the over-unders in the open space of the octagon instead of just going to the cage. And then if he couldn't get that, he would get the back and then triple, you know? And I love that. And, you know, they had this beautiful scramble, and Demetrius was able to get back up, you know? And it was awesome. And again, Henry would take him down if he would go for a knee, and then Demetrius would Granby, and he'd get up. So good scrambles here, but obviously Cejudo would eventually throw shots at him, punch him, just go back and forth with him. He wasn't scared to interact, and I just loved how he would mix in the wrestling with the striking. He wasn't scared, and he would constantly just be on Demetrius, just wrestling, and he just wasn't scared. He just wasn't scared to engage with him in the striking and in the wrestling. He was fearless in here. He fought like a champion, and he hit this beautiful inside chip right here. It was amazing. It was fucking amazing watching that. As a wrestling fan, I love that. It's one of my favorite takedowns. It's just amazing. But, you know, Demetrius was able to get up. But this is, at the end of this fifth one, this is why, to me, why Henry won it. Because he engaged with him. He went forward. He's like, come on, you punk. You bald, mighty mouth looking punk. Come on. And he's just punching him. He's not scared of him. He went at him. And he became champion. And you guys cried. I didn't cry. You cried. You know? So then, obviously, he gets put in a tough spot, in my opinion. And this is something that Aljo's never done in his career. He gets put in the toughest spot of his lifetime. Henry. They tell him, hey, go up to bantamweight and give up your division. And you know what he said? He said, nah, there's guys like Brandon Moreno, Davis, and Figueiredo that needs to have a quadrilogy. All right? There's guys like Manal Cop that needs to have a fucking career. There's guys like Brandon Royval. I don't fuck Brandon Royval. That needs to have a career. Right? There's guys like Tim Elliott that deserves a career. There's guys like Joseph Benavidez that needs to get murdered by Davis and Figueiredo in 2 title fights. Right? There's guys in that flyweight division that deserve moments. And you know what he said? Fuck no. I'm going to put this division on my fucking back. I'm going to fight the evil TJ Dillashaw with steroids, EPO, and all that bullshit. And I will destroy him at flyweight. He wants my belt. He wants to be champ. Bring it on, motherfucker. And fucking on the first ESPN Plus fight night in the Barclays motherfucking center, Henry Cejudo fought TJ Clownboy Dillashaw and sent him home packing in 30 motherfucking seconds. This was beautiful. Threw one head kick and he was broken. And then fucking Henry pushes him. And then he kicks him again. And he hits him on the side of the ear. And TJ's working. Come on, let me get a single. I'm going to try to get it. And he's pounding it out. And he said, little boy, back up. Back up. He ain't taking nobody's job, punk. And the snake was slayed. And this was one of Henry Cejudo's all-time greatest moments in my career. In my opinion, I loved it. I was just elated. You know, you guys know I love to see TJ Dillashaw lose. So it was awesome to see justice served that day. The snake could not take down the flyweight division. The flyweight division is still alive. So TJ Dillashaw, you failed at that. Go suck dirt while you're at it. But then obviously TJ, you know, he popped, so they couldn't run it back. And Henry Cejudo was supposed to fight for the belt, you know, for the 135 belt. So he's like, you know what, hey, there's this guy named Marlon Moraes, the biological father of Aljamain. I'll fight him. And he fought a prime Marlon Moraes. Okay, so I want to talk about this, bro. This is what I when I tell people Henry Cejudo gets in his bag. Let's be honest. He was going in here with a really bad ankle injury, so that's why he didn't really wrestle as much in this fight. And he fought a killer, a guy that murdered Aljamain, a guy that murdered Rafael Santos, a guy that murdered Jimmy Rivera, right? A fucking murderer, right? A killer, Krillin, right? He fought fucking Krillin, a scary dude. And he said, you know, I'm going to strike with you. You're one of the best strikers, one of the most powerful strikers, one of the most scariest knockout artists in the division right now. I'll fight you. And he took Marlon Moraes' soul. All right? The biological father of Aljamain, he took his soul. And And that's why he's been losing all the damn time. So I just want to say this before people say, "Oh, Henry fought fucking Marlon. Raw Funk KO'd him. Of course, he didn't KO'd him. So you doing KO'd him." They didn't fight the same guy. All right, that was a completely different guy. But in that first round, fucking Marlon battered him with kicks, and that's something I could see Aljo doing, and that's something Aljo can learn a lot from this fight. And that's what I think Aljo's gonna do. I'm gonna shock people what I think Aljo's game plan is. I don't think Aljo's here to grapple. I think he's gonna try to knock out Henry Cejudo. I'm saying it right now. I think he's gonna try to knock out Henry Cejudo. He knows he's the longer fighter, so he's gonna be looking for that knee. I know a lot of people call me crazy, but I don't think he thinks he can out-wrestle. Let me explain it to you guys. There's levels in wrestling, so. I'll say it like this. I'm a varsity wrestler, right? Let's say in high school. Then there's this kid that just starts wrestling through 3 days of practice, gets all right. If you can't take me down, not once, what are you going to do to me? What can you do to me? If you can't take me down, you're great at jiu-jitsu, let's say that. Let's say the kid's a jiu-jitsu kid, he's getting into wrestling. What can you do to me? If you can't take me down, you're going to what, pull guard? Am I going to go into your guard? Am I stupid? Am I a dummy? Am I? Am I Cody Brundage? You know what I'm saying? Like, no. Like, so what can you do to me? If I'm the longer guy, of course I'm going to try to outstrike you. And that's what I think Aljo's going to have to try to do. I'm telling you, that's what he's going to try to do. I know. They're panicking. That's what they got. They're hoping Henry comes out of shape. They're hoping Henry's old. They're praying. But let's talk about this Marlon fight. Marlon starts with a fucking head kick on Cejudo, and he's literally battering him with leg kicks and just lead hook combos in the pocket. Just a lot of leg kicks. Just a lot. And he defends the takedowns properly. Obviously, Cejudo's a little compromising with his legs, but Marlon's breaking him down with leg kicks constantly. You know, he's just battering him with just kicks. But then Henry, he was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to fight you in the pocket. And he found a hole in Marlon's game, and that's his heart and his cardio. And he went Mexican style and started boxing up Marlon. And he broke him. Boom. Beautiful lead hook uppercut combo. And he was just walking him down, hit him with a beautiful cross. And he just walked him down. He's just so grit, championship grit. And one thing I loved is he got in his face, and then when he got in the clinch, he worked him, man. And it was crazy. This is a Muay Thai guy who's doing this. And he's beating him in the clinch with knees, by the way. With knees. And he's just saying, fuck it. I'm going in there with you. And he's just working him inside. He's not letting Marlon rest. He's not letting Marlon get anywhere. Uppercut. Knees over and over again. And Marlon's breaking. Over and over. And Marlon just can't take this. It is becoming an assault. Knee, and you can see Marlon's not the same guy he was in the first round. Henry even takes him down too, but Marlon gets back up. Marlon walks him down. Henry walks him down with an uppercut, lead hook combo, then some more knees, and then eventually, fucking Henry snaps him down, tries to go for the anaconda, isn't able to get it, but he grounds and pounds the shit out of Marlon, breaks him, and he just showed how hard he could dig. He showed what he can do to Marlon Rice, something that Aljo couldn't do. Motherfucker. Alright? Go watch that Marlon fight and see what happened. It's not like that fight was, he shot for a takedown, he landed a knee. No, that fight was a long first round before that KO. And what happened? Couldn't get no takedowns. He couldn't get a takedown to save his fucking life against Marlon Rice. And then he got kneed in his motherfucking face. So that's a fact. So then, obviously, Henry Cejudo, in his most recent fight, fights Dominic Cruz. Obviously, Dominic just lost to Marlon Vera, but it's what Cejudo did in this fight that just tells me he's gonna destroy Aljo. The leg kicks. He broke Dominic with leg kicks over and over and over again, and he was walking down Cruz. You know, eventually, like, it was getting to the point I was like, damn. And I fuck with Cruz heavy, so this was tough. And he defended takedowns. Like, you see, like, Cruz went for takedowns, he couldn't get shit, right? And then he picked Cruz up, slammed him on the ground, but Cruz was able to scramble back up. So, like, I feel like the wrestling will cancel each other out when they Aljo Cejudo fight, and it was good. But anytime Cruz went for takedowns, he couldn't get it. He just couldn't. You know, and fucking dude, Cejudo walked him down with a combo of punches. Again, more leg kicks, and eventually it set up the knee. And fucking Dominic, you know, he leaned his head towards it. And obviously, I know, SSG is gonna be like, Keith Peterson, smoking that Keith Peterson, you know, SSG is gonna say that, but yeah, and so obviously Henry retired, he did his thing, and now we're here. And do I think Aljo has a chance? Yeah, and I told you guys, he's gonna win. He's gonna try to win on the feet. He's the longer fighter. He knows Henry got kneed bad to the body, so he's going to try to knee him to the body. He's going to try to throw knees to the head. He tried it against Jan. Knees are very hard. Even though if you're pillow-fisted fucking Aljo, knees still hurt. Shin to chin, you don't wake up from that. I don't care who you are. So he's going to try to outstrike Cejudo. He's the longer guy. He's going to try it. He's not going to be successful at it. He's going to try it. He's going to try to wrestle. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he's not going to try to wrestle. And he's going to hope for some type of scramble where he can get on the back. But what I'm telling you is, though, there's levels to this wrestling shit. And he can't do it. And I want Aljo to listen to this. I want Ed to listen. I want Fuego to listen to this. There is one true champion in this world. There's one true Olympic gold medalist champion in this fucking world of UFC. His name is Henry Cejudo. We will not get taken down by you. We will take you down. We will take your back. We will break you with leg kicks. We will walk you down. And we will take you out. And we will break you in the 4th fucking round. We are taking our belt back. God damn it. And that fucking Aljo Pack video, I said no to the Inez Masvidal one. Because I saved him for Aljamain fucking Sterling. Because motherfucker, you're gonna pay for what you did to Jan's career. Alright? It's 12 feet under because of you, and I gotta do constant funerals for my boy Jan. Alright? So you're gonna pay. You D3 wrestling scrub. You're gonna fucking pay. And Henry Cejudo's getting his motherfucking belt back. Your boy eBay's out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Henry Cejudo by 4th round TKO. Did a really long breakdown. I haven't done this in a long time, but yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, we're getting our belt back, baby. C4! C4! But yeah, go follow me on Instagram and my Twitter. Like, comment, share the video. Let's eBay Fight Breeze Nation. Love y'all.